Accident? Funny how you white folks always have accidents when it comes to respecting black men. You intentionally stepped on me.
Honestly, for a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What did being white have to do with me accidentally stepping on him? I wanted to argue or just say something, but he started talking again.
You think you're better than everyone else? Walking around here like you belong? Like you aren't just another junkie hiding in the midst of decent people?
Junkie? What the hell was he talking about? Where did that come from? I don't do drugs, I live here, I work here, I have friends here. I do not appreciate you comparing me to a junkie. I'm a responsible lady.
Prove it. Let's see you try to prove your responsibility. I'd like to search your bag and house. I have a strong feeling that you're hoarding drugs.
Before I could say a word, he yanked my bag, searched it, and emptied it onto the floor. Then he ordered me to pick everything up and loudly apologize while on my knees. If you'd asked me 2 months back if I was scared about the cops in this area, I'd have said I wasn't. I had lived in this neighborhood for years. I wasn't blind to the stories and the quiet warnings about how some cops treated people around here. I had seen the way they looked at the people in the white community, how they spoke to them, how they wielded their power like a hammer, ready to strike at the first sign of resistance. But I never thought I'd be on the receiving end of it. Not until that day. It was just supposed to be a quick trip to the mall. Grab a few groceries, maybe stop by the bookstore if I had time. I wasn't in a rush, just strolling, minding my business, thinking about what I'd make for dinner that night. And then, accidentally, I stepped on someone. But unfortunately, it wasn't just anyone. It was a freaking cop. The moment my foot barely brushed his boot, I felt a jolt of dread spike through my chest. I started to apologize immediately, but before I could even get the words out, his hand clamped around my wrist like I was a criminal.
You've got some nerve stepping on a uniformed man.
I froze in fear. His grip was tight, uncomfortably so. He was truly in his uniform, but it wasn't the uniform that scared me. It was his eyes, his cold, sharp, and sucked eyes, making me feel so scared. At that moment, I wished to just escape from him. I'm so sorry, sir. I wasn't looking where I was going. I would never repeat it.
Sorry doesn't cut it, girl. You stepped on a cop and that's a crime.
People were watching as he roughly pulled me closer. I could feel their eyes on us, some stopping mid-step, others glancing from the corners of their eyes before quickly looking away. But no one said anything. No one stepped in. They never did, so it wasn't new. I'd just expected some humanity that didn't exist. It was an accident, I swear. I sincerely apologize. It will never repeat itself.
Accident? Funny how you white folks always have accidents when it comes to respecting black men. You intentionally stepped on me.
Honestly, for a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What did being white have to do with me accidentally stepping on him? I wanted to argue or just say something, but he started talking again.
You think you're better than everyone else? Walking around here like you belong? Like you aren't just another junkie hiding in the midst of decent people?
Junkie? What the hell was he talking about? Where did that come from? I don't do drugs, I live here, I work here, I have friends here. I do not appreciate you comparing me to a junkie. I'm a responsible lady.
Prove it. Let's see you try to prove your responsibility. I'd like to search your bag and house. I have a strong feeling that you're hoarding drugs.
Before I could say a word, he yanked my bag, searched it, and emptied it onto the floor. Then he ordered me to pick everything up and loudly apologize while on my knees. You have no right to do that. Do you even have a warrant? Why would you call me a drug addict when we're just meeting for the first time today? And accidentally, for that matter.
Listen to me, young woman. You better show me your place, or I'm going to take you to the station and give you a reason to be in jail.
I felt so afraid. It wasn't normal and it wasn't right. I knew I should have pushed more and stood my ground, but that was impossible. The way he was looking at me was as if he was waiting for me to push back, like he was waiting for an excuse to have something strong against me. I knew better than to argue, so I agreed to show him my place. He pushed me into his car. I'd hoped it would just be to see the building and leave, but he had other plans. When we finally reached the building, he demanded to follow me into my apartment. I didn't want to, but because I was still trying to evade trouble, I allowed him in. Once he entered, he started looking and moving around. He went to my bookshelves, my small kitchen, my bedroom, everywhere. He walked through my living room like he owned the place. I kept quiet, watching him do everything he wanted. Finally, After what seemed like forever, he stopped.
No drugs, huh? That's strange. Y'all white kids are nothing but junkies.
I don't think you should associate that with my race. I know quite a lot of black junkies too.
I will ignore you only because you're clean. Kindly mind yourself from now, else I won't hesitate to arrest you next time.
I didn't say anything until he finally left my house. That was only when I felt relieved. I thought it had ended. Unfortunately, it hadn't. He turned out to be a creep. When it started, I brushed it off as being just paranoia. But it didn't go away. Every time I stepped outside, every time I walked to work, every time I unlocked my apartment door, the feeling of being watched overwhelmed me. When I left for work in the morning, there were footsteps behind me. If I looked back, I wouldn't find anyone. Inside my own apartment, I felt it the most. While I cooked dinner, I would feel someone's eyes on me. But if I checked, there'd be no one there. When I took a shower, I would feel someone watching me. I could hear movements sometimes. It was so scary, but I couldn't tell my friends because I didn't have anything to confirm. I didn't want to be told that I was hallucinating because I knew I wasn't. At night, while in my bedroom, I swore I could hear something. I kept trying to tell myself I was overreacting, but I knew I wasn't. I just needed a confirmation that I wasn't imagining things. One night, I received my confirmation. I was in my living room having dinner when my door was pushed open and the least person I expected to see walked in. It was the cop from last time. The same one who had accused me of being a junkie and searched my apartment without a warrant. Only now, he wasn't wearing his uniform. He reeked of alcohol as he staggered into my apartment like he had every right to be there. I was so scared. "What the hell? Why are you in my house? Get out!" He didn't listen. He started walking even closer to me.
I've been watching you, you know?
"You need to leave. Now, get out of my house."
Why would I leave when I finally have you all to myself? I don't have to sneak around.
I grabbed my fork out of fear. "You come one step closer, and I swear to God, I will stab you." I brandished the fork like a weapon. I could see that he was scared. Eventually, when he saw that I was going to do it, he backed off, but he promised to be back. I was awake throughout the night. The next morning, I ran to the police station as fast as my legs could carry me. But I met the shock of my life when I saw the same cop there. I didn't know that was the station he worked at.
Well, look who it is. The white junkie came to pay me a visit.
I thought the other black officers would stop him, but they didn't seem to be on my side. Of course, they would be with him.
Man, you really got this one rattled, huh? Have you seen her naked yet? I doubt you haven't.
They laughed. I was so close to crying. "You shouldn't be doing this. He broke into my apartment. He's been stalking me, and I'm shocked that you all know about it yet did nothing."
Whoa, calm down, sweetheart. You should be lucky to have him stalking you. We have enough black women, but he chose you.
They laughed again, and all I wanted was to see them get punished.
You should go home, miss. You don't want to make false accusations against a good cop like him. No one will listen to you.
He's not a good cop. None of you are.
Now, that's a heavy accusation. And without proof? I don't know. Sounds like someone's just looking for attention.
They laughed again. I burst out crying as I ran away from there. I heard the cop promising to see me tonight, but I didn't stop. Once I got home, I called one of my favorite friends. Devin was a black man, but he was a good person. I'd known him for so long, and I knew he believed in people getting justice. When he arrived, I told him everything, from the very beginning at the mall. I'd never seen Devin look so angry.
How dare him? That's so unprofessional. It's his job to protect you, not harass you. That's a very punishable offense, and he won't be escaping it. I'm calling my uncle.
Devin's uncle was the chief of police. The man was also a good man. I'd heard about different people getting justice through his help. While the phone rang, I prayed for the man to ask help me. He was the only one who could punish those bastards. When the man answered the call, Devin explained the situation. I was so happy when his uncle wanted to send officers immediately, but Devin stopped him.
Not yet. He needs to learn something first. I will teach him a lesson.
I asked Devin what the lesson was, and he told me his plan. I was sure that the cop would definitely come by because he said it back at the station. We got everything ready for our plan, just in case he came. Devin stayed the night. We waited. Deep down, I was really hoping he would come. I needed to deal with the issue and end it all. Fortunately, around midnight, the door was forced open again.
Well, you don't have a fork this time. I'll see what will save you.
He didn't see Devin at first, but when he did, it was too late. Devin lunged at him, punching him in the face and knocking him to the floor. The cop cried out in pain. He tried to fight back, but I grabbed a baseball bat and smashed it over his shoulder. As Devin pummeled his face with punches, I struck him mercilessly. When we were done, we forced him to sit up and tied his hands behind his back. Devin then grabbed his phone and called his uncle. Minutes later, sirens filled the air. Officers burst in, dragging the cop up. His lip was split, his face swollen. We didn't end it there. We took him to his station and I pointed at the other cops who mocked me. They were all arrested. The next day, his arrest was everywhere. News channels, papers, social media. At trial, the evidence was clear. The scratches on my door, Devin serving as a witness, the footage from the station where they mocked me. Devin's uncle made sure every detail was exposed. The cop got 5 years for stalking, harassment, and abuse of power. His accomplices got 3 for covering up his actions. Their badges were stripped. Their names were blacklisted. They weren't just fired. They were humiliated. I watched them without pity as they were led away in cuffs. Justice was served, but I still moved away 2 months later because I was traumatized. A few months later, while I was in a different state, Devin called me with some news. Rumors were circulating about what had happened to the cop in prison. From the moment he arrived, the whispers began.
That's the cop from the news. 5 years ain't long enough for what he did. We're gonna make sure he pays every day.
At first, he tried to act tough, walking with the same arrogance he once had in uniform. But behind those prison walls, there was no badge to protect him, only enemies. The inmates knew what he had done to countless white women. Some of them had even been locked up because of him. His nights were the worst. Sleep became impossible. Every creak, every whisper sent his heart racing. Someone scratched at his cell door at random hours, whispering his name just to mess with him. His nerves were shot, his body always tense, waiting for the next attack. Then came the messages. A note left on his bunk read, "Dead men don't need to eat." A carving on the wall said, "Payback's a bitch, ain't it?" One night, he woke up to find his mattress slashed. His clothes were stolen, forcing him to beg for spares. His food tray was knocked out of his hands at every meal, and if he dared to complain, it only got worse. Then came the beatings. One afternoon, he was cornered in the showers. A group of inmates blocked the exit, cracking their knuckles.
You like throwing your weight around, cop? Let's see how tough you are without a gun.
Blows rained down before he could even fight back. Fists, knees, elbows. By the time they were done, he was curled up on the cold tile, gasping for air, blood mixing with the water. The final blow came when an inmate set him up, falsely claiming that the cop had attacked and tried to kill him. As a result, his sentence was extended by 6 more years. Serves him right. Thanks for watching.